I'm Lauren. Welcome back to my channel. It's so good to see you guys. Thank you guys for popping in. Today I want to do a 75-gallon terrarium tour. I have some plants actually planted in it. I have some plants that are just put inside it in pots. Regardless, a lot of these plants are going to need to be trimmed soon or removed in some way. And before I do any of that, I really wanted to give you a tour of the different plants that I have in there, give you some plant updates. Some of these plants you've seen before, you've watched me unbox. This is them now. Some of these plants I haven't even talked about on this channel, so you'll get to see some new ones. It's definitely going to be very, very fun. And then I'm going to do another video in a few weeks where I am removing all of these plants and I'm talking about them a little more. So I'm going to kind of go over each plant quickly because there are a lot of plants and I don't want to keep you here for all eternity. So without further ado, let's get into it.
So here is the full tank and let's delve into it and explore a little bit. Okay, so let's start over here in the right hand corner. You can kind of see here, this is a Monstera Stanleyana albo. You can see that it's kind of taken over everything here. And it's actually popping out right here. You could see, boop, it's got a whole new little leaf coming in there and pushing out new growth. It's actually at the very base. I don't know if you could tell because it's so dense in here, but all the way at the bottom is where it started out. Now, I also have Rhaphidophora decursiva, so this will be like the dragon's tail monstera basically, and that's kind of planted up here. I also have Hoya up here as well. This is a Hoya carnosa. So this is another Monstera, Monstera laniata. It is a little 3-leaf cutting. It started to completely die off in my greenhouse, so I put it in here, and it's got a little bit of growth here, which is good. And then I have a tiny Ripsalis cutting. Oops. So I have a tiny Ripsalis cutting there as well. Monstera siltipicana. Back here in stratum is 2 Alocasia corms of unknown. And then that is a Monstera obliqua node. Philodendron silver stripe. It's kind of like a Gabby or a Rio, but it's a little bit different, but it vines just the same. Or a Monstera Brazil if you have one of those. And then these are Alocasia corms that you saw me rooting before. These are Alocasia heterophilia. They're also called the dragon's breath Alocasia. And then these are some type of dragon scale or silver dragon Alocasia corms. Same with these as well. And then moving on, this is a Hoya macrophylla, which has actually grown all along, way over there. It's grown quite a bit. So, but the leaves are very, very thick and chunky, and then they get pink on the stems, which is just so cool. I freaking love them. And that's kind of tucked in and planted in there. And then these are Alocasia, whoops, there we go, Alocasia frydek corm. I had 2 Alocasia frydek corms, but then I gifted one to a friend. So that worked out really well. I'm sorry, guys. And then this leaf here is the Philodendron tortum. You can see it's got a whole new leaf coming in over here. How wonky it is. It straightens out and becomes beautiful like this one over here, which is really cool. And then we have so much to get through in here, guys. So bear with me. I might have to pull some stuff out as I go. Right here is the Philodendron Heterasium variegata. This one is from Finchy. I will link her channel. Her plants are amazing. She's always got really cool stuff, and her personality is so fantastic. If you like my channel, you'll like her channel. And then this was what was supposed to be a Philodendron Dark Lord. It's starting to mature a bit now, and it could possibly be a Philodendron Dark Lord, but I'm not 100% sure. It could be something else. This one right down here, if I can get to it for you, it's kind of dark. 1 second. Okay, so this one right here is a Philodendron Dark Lord for sure. So that's what I got going on in here. This one is from ATL Plant Room. Ashley, I have a whole unboxing video for her plants as well. And it's got a little caterpillar stuff going there. This one is really cool. I can't pull it out all the way because you can see the roots have completely started to pop out, and they're just as pink as that vibrant pink that you're seeing right there. So the roots are like a deep pink as well. It's just so cool. So freaking cool. What else do we have in here? So this is Syngonium chiapense. This is, whoops, here we go. So this is the first leaf, and then it popped out with this as the third leaf. It just unfurled, so it's pretty soft now. All right, so this is a better overview of one half of the terrarium, and you can kind of see what's going on here. Like, this is the top of the terrarium. You can't see it from the front, so I didn't bother to do anything with it. But all of this turns into this. And I pulled out another light so that we can get a little bit better going on here. So let's delve into this a little bit more. And over here, this was the philodendron tortum, philodendron chiapense. This was that second leaf that I was telling you about. And then I've got little scindapsus. And then I'm trying to get, here we go, to the base here. There we go. So this is the philodendron gigas down here, which is really cool. They like high humidity. They're pretty forgiving. They have a very, very beautiful sheen, almost like a satin. They're like a micans, but much more wet and soft looking. I don't like to handle the leaves too often, and I keep them in here, but they're in the same cup as the Syngonium chiapense. Oh, philodendron burley marks fantasy, I believe. So that's down there. It's really, really pretty. It's actually vined all the way up, and it's doing kind of crazy things up here. And then you can see more of the fantasy down there. And then there is a philodendron silver sword right down there as well. You can kind of see. This is the philodendron white wizard. It's in a little jar. Let me see if I can pull him up for you. Okay, so this is the philodendron white wizard for you. So you can see that it's got little roots. This is just a little baby one, and I just plopped him in there with high humidity. I don't remember if I actually showed an unboxing of this one or not. I don't remember, guys. It's been a bit. So let me put this one back down. This is that philodendron white princess. So it's got a, see, this leaf came out really good. It had a little bit of trouble shipping and whatnot, but it's perking back up a little bit. I'm not sure what's going on with it. I might have to chop and prop. I don't know. We shall see. Let me get into what else is down here for you guys. This is the Syngonium 3 Kings. It's got quite a bit going on with it. Sorry, it's got a little bit of dirt. It's been kind of crumpled. It needs more light and better conditions. It's still in the same sphagnum moss, and you can see that it's very rooted in there. It just needs an up pot. This whole tank just needs to be redone. But we'll get there. Let's see what else is down here. So that is a little pilea down there, and then that is the base of this philodendron. And then we've got a little peperomia down here, an obtusifolia, I believe. That's the philodendron Dark Lord. So you can see that down there. This is a philodendron Dark Lord leaf as well. And then you can see the philodendron burley marks. This is a better view of the philodendron silver sword for you. Let me see. I've got a bunch of alocasia in here too. Let me see what I can dig out. Okay, so there is this, stop shaking. There is this mystery alocasia. It looks like an alocasia caprea, kind of. It started pushing out these random little babies down here. And then it's got a new leaf coming in. It's just in perlite, and some sphagnum moss topped it up. Here, let me see if I can get a better view. There you go. And then this leaf came in and it's kind of wonky. So I'm not sure what kind of alocasia this is. And it came as a baby and I don't know. So I'm just kind of growing it out and we're going to see. If you have any guesses, please let me know and then we can dig into it together and figure it out. It is very interesting how it just decided to sprout a completely different baby off the side, and they look completely different. Like, I don't even know if that's the same plant, and it just happened to be like a seed in the pot or something. I don't know. It's very odd. Different. The better view of that Monstera stanleyana, and you can see the vine actually started way down at the base there, like these right here, and then it climbed all the way up, circled around through here, just totally, boop, boop. He's like, hello, trying to bust out of here. It's like, no, man. And I cut this and gifted the top cut to a friend. So this has been like in the last month and a half that it's grown all the way. I cut it here. Whoops. So I cut it over here. And then it's just grown, all of this. I'm glad that it has rooted though. It's going to be a pain to remove, but when I propagate this again, it's nice that it has roots already. So this is supposed to be that pink variegated alocasia, and I'm not seeing it. I think it's like alocasia longlobium or something like that, but it's like a pink variegated. There is no pink variegation on this. I know alocasia variegation is hit or miss. So we shall see. It's got 2 plants in here and neither one of them ended up doing that. Still a pretty alocasia. It's growing quickly and roots out the bottom. So you can see it's got a heavy perlite base in there. But yeah, let me put these back and then we'll jump over. There's a little bit more down in here. Let's see what we can get. So I do have a Hoya right here, and then I have some Salaginilla down here. See, there is a little peperomia back there, like a peperomia mint. And I think at the very base, right down there, is a mandarin spider plant, but it's not getting very much light because it's right back there. This silver stripes kind of took over everything. Thank you, Plants and Things by Chris, for my silver stripe philodendron. I'm loving it. It's loving it. Okay, so right there is the philodendron Burley Marks Fantasy. So you can kind of see there. It's got these little scales on it. It's really cool. Very, very interesting plant. And it's a little wet, but it doesn't mind. They like terrariums, so that's good. Let me put these back and then we'll go to that side of the tank. This is an overview of the other side of the tank and we're just going to kind of delve in here for you. Alright, so right over here on the wall is a very cool looking plant. You may or may not know what it is. It is very, very green, but this is actually your everyday average philodendron micans. So a lot of people have been talking about like a philodendron micans green, where it has like this velvety look, and honestly it kind of comes out that way while it's in terrariums. So I don't know if I necessarily believe the hype, but if you want that look of the very bright green philodendron micans, just stick them in terrarium conditions because that's what they do. So just something to keep in mind. Very, very cool. Like, I'm not adjusting this at all or anything. This is just what it looks like. And what I'm seeing is actually very accurate to what's coming on camera. All right, so over here we just have your standard marble queen pothos. Sorry for the shine. It's just a very shiny plant. But you can see it's grown all the way up. There's not much light on this side of the tank. There is just one smaller grow light on this side. So I put ones that can handle a little bit of a lower light on this side. And you can see that the micans loves it. This one's not really getting much bigger. But another plant that's loving it is the Syngonium albo. Look at that! You can't tell me that is not one of the most beautiful Syngonium leaves you've ever seen. Like, which do you prefer? Do you like kind of this marbled look, or do you like kind of the half moon look here? Let me know, because kind of awesome. I don't know. And then there's this guy that's just kind of splashing around. but I don't know if you guys remember, it was a pretty small cutting when I got it, and it's literally just living in a cup. I don't know if you can see. It's got a cup down there of like sphagnum moss and perlite, and that's what it's been living in here this whole time. Sorry for the funny angles. I am digging into a terrarium, so I'm trying not to damage any plant leaves, and then I'm trying to like keep the cables to a minimum. So it's kind of where I'm at with that, and my apologies for any funky stuff going on. I'm not a pro filmer or anything. This is a philodendron splendid, I believe, and it's been kind of weird because it started out like that one down there, kind of a bigger leaf, and then it got smaller leaves and a little bigger, and then over here is what it's got going on now. It's just kind of getting smaller and smaller. We might need to chop and prop this one. It's not super loving it. So right back here is a little peperomia cupid. It's supposed to be variegated, but it's kind of tucked in that corner. This is a better look at what that cupid peperomia is supposed to look like. Justina pothos, and it's kind of lost all of its color. It's got a lot of new growth, and it was a little cutting from my friend Chris as well, and I really just need to get it in better light. I need to chop it back, prop it again, and put it in better light, because it's supposed to be all variegated and pretty like that, and mine's totally reverted. I have a bunch of salaginella down here as well. It hasn't been getting enough light, so it's been dying off. And then there's a little mystery plant down there as well. I think that might be another philodendron micans. It's just not getting enough light. So, and moving over here, this is a Syngonium erythrophyllum. It's also known as the red-backed Syngonium because it's got this vibrant color back here. This is super beautiful, super, super beautiful plant. One of my favorites. I've actually got two of them. Both of them were gifted to me. One was from Finchy and one was from ATL Plant Room. I'm probably going to end up cutting one up because it's kind of gone and done this, so it's not really very happy. I think the other one is doing all right, but it's a very beautiful plant. If you are into dark foliage and like goth plants, it's definitely one that you should have on your list. Another one that's kind of dark and gothy is this one over here. This is a Ludicea discolor. So it has these beautiful, cute little stripes. They're freaking adorable. I love them so much. These are actually terrestrial orchids, so they like to grow in soil. You don't have to put them in moss. This one actually isn't growing so well because I'm growing it like a regular like Phalaenopsis orchid in some moss, and it would much prefer to be in soil. So I've got to fix that. And then this is a little black velvet. This is a little black velvet alocasia seedling over here. I just watered it. I let it dry out too much. It does dry out in the terrarium being up top so high. And then I just moved it to this side because it was on the other side with brighter light, and it was not liking it. Like it tore in some places, and I think it just wasn't having a grand old time. So I moved it over here so it's in a better spot, and we'll see how it grows. I'm hoping my other alocasia, this was a baby that I got off a parent, and I'm hoping that one will grow a whole bunch more corms as well, and then we can all have alocasia black velvets. Over here is a black pagoda lipstick plant. This thing was a 2-leaf cutting that I just shoved in some moss in here. And it is the coolest thing ever. I lost the rest of my plant to spider mites, so I wasn't sure if it was going to really like it in here, but it's totally taken off. It's fully rooted in here. I don't know if I could get this out even if I wanted to, honestly. It's very, very resilient in here. And it's even bloomed in here for me, which was very shocking. The bloom only lasted like 2 days, and they're not like super beautiful blooms. I think I have an Instagram post on them from like a year ago. It might be in my highlights or something, but they're not very big, you know, prominent blooms, but the foliage is what I live for with these black pagoda lipstick plants. So this here is a philodendron splendid, and you can kind of see the leaves a little bit better here. They have a beautiful velvetiness, and then they get a better veination as they mature, which is really cool to see. I really, really like it. You're probably peeking this beautiful one over here. This is a philodendron camposportuanum. This I got from Patrikios as a tiny, tiny cutting. I grew it and just kept growing smaller and smaller leaves, propped a whole bunch of it, chopped the entire thing back all the way back to the base, put one of those cuttings in here, and this is the gorgeousness that I've gotten. It's actually all the way at the base there, grown all the way up, and now it's popping over. It's so cool. Gorgeous plant. Like, who can resist that? It's seriously like the Syngonium and the Camposportuanum are like the stars of the show. And then you see a little bit of the Syngonium chiapense here. Freaking gorgeous. And this is just a top view, guys. This is not even like the front, which is hard to show you guys because of the glare on it right now. I haven't figured out how to handle that. This little white guy down here, let me pull that guy out for you. So this was a variegated alocasia of some kind. I don't remember. I'll put the name on the screen. But all it's done, it's a zombie plant, basically, a zombie corn. I rooted it, or I ordered it, I rooted it, and then it started popping out little white leaves. It's popped out 2 other leaves that were all pure white, just like this. And then this is one of the 5 leaves, and it's starting to melt. This one's doing the same. This one will go the same. This is essentially a little zombie plant, and nothing will ever come of it. I started it out in highlight thinking I needed, you know, more variegation, and that was the best chance, and I was keeping it warm in stratum, my favorite media for rooting corms. And then it turns out that it's like a little zombie plant. It's not going to really make it. I didn't pay too much for it, so I'm not sad. I got like 50% off of it. This has been a very fun experience, but just if you're going to order variegated alocasia, just know that it is like, you can get not variegated at all, or you can get the opposite problem, which is a zombie plant. Sad, but true, and still really cool to see. Like, that is beautiful. It's a gorgeous leaf. I'm not sad about it a bit, really. Like, it's really cool, and I'm glad I can share it with you guys. So I did move it to a lower light, thinking that after the first 2 were white in the highlight, that maybe if I put it in a lower light situation over on this side of the tank, that it would do better, and that has not been the case. It's pushed out 3 more white lights, or 3 more white alocasia leaves, and now they've started to melt just like the other 2. So it hasn't really made a difference lighting-wise. So this is your standard Scindapsus argyrius, which has popped off like crazy. And then further down here, you can see there's a Monstera dubia down there that's gone crazy. This is Peperomia incana. Sorry, it's kind of hard to get the angle and the light, guys. Campo, you're in the way. The Camposportuana was like, no, I don't want to share the light. Alright, so there is a Peperomia incana for you, the velvet leaf peperomia. I'll try to get you a better view. This is a philodendron pink princess. This one is from Finchy. She's got to be like the queen of philodendron pink princesses. This is one little like cut that ended up sprouting 2 separate plants from it. I've been doing really good with this one, keeping it alive, trying to keep it under good light. You can see that's one of the newest leaves. It's got really great genes, and I'm just trying to keep up with it. So I'm really excited for what it can do. There is just a lot of random stuff in here. We're going to clean all this out together, so you'll be able to see more at some point. There is a Syngonium strawberry ice down there, and then there is a there is an Alocasia dragon scale back there as well. There's just so much stuff in here, it's really hard to show you guys. And then, so this is another Syngonium from Finchy. This is a Syngonium strawberry milk, I believe. It's really pretty, really cute. It's just not growing super quickly, and I think I need to fix the media that it's in. So all of this is going to get an overhaul. You can see like where some of the sphagnum moss has fallen off and whatnot. I think I got just about everything for you guys. I can't see if there's anything else in here I forgot. Totally forgot this little mystery Syngonium that I just kind of tucked in. I got it from a big box store. The rest of it kind of died. I don't know. There you go. You can kind of see. They're so fuzzy and there's so much. And then I love how this unfurls. It's so cool looking. It's basically at the top of this thing though, like you can see. I'm gonna definitely have to repot it. Oh, oh no, the fried egg's getting caught in the tortum here. This is a standard lipstick plant, and that's kind of grown and taken off in there. And then this was just a philodendron marble queen that's just hanging out there. It's really cute and pretty too. I'm putting these on top because they're like little cup areas, and then the stems don't take up much space. So I'm trying to get the alocasia light. Like I did the same thing over here. It's not really damaging the plant because it's not really on the plant. It's just kind of like having a rock nearby, you know, like that. So I know it looks different, but there you go. There you have it. I think that concludes our little tour. Some little plants that I forgot to mention are this Hoya australis, so that's in there, and it does vine all the way back. It just lost leaves because of the monstera that was here. And then there is the crimson princess there as well. This is a monstera dubia. It's the very, very bottom of the tank, and it's actually vined tiny leaves all over the bottom of the tank, and this is just a tiny leaf up close for you. And then another one I forgot is over here, this Tradescantia I've kind of tucked in. There's also a bunch of cuttings of begonia in here as well. And then this is the Peperomia incana. There's more Hoya at the bottom. I keep taking cuttings of everything. So this is a Hoya pubicalix. There's a Hoya bella down there. A Hoya crinkle 8 down there as well. These are all at the very bottom of the tank, so it's really hard to get in there. And then this is a philodendron white knight over here as well. It's just kind of tucked in under everything. It's not giving me very much white. It definitely needs better lighting. So when we clean out the tank, we'll take care of that.
I have to say that looking in this terrarium every single morning is one of my favorite things to do. If I get super stressed throughout the day, then I'll just come and I'll bring my work and I'll sit on the floor right in front of this terrarium and I will literally watch the leaves unfurl while I'm working. I love it so much. There is so much color in it. There's so much beauty in it. All of the textures and just... oh my gosh, it's just beautiful. It's amazing. And it's something that was very easy to make. I won't say that it was inexpensive, and I do have a whole video on how I actually made it if you're curious. It's definitely not for everybody though. And honestly, I wouldn't have it if it wasn't thanks to my husband helping me carry it up the stairs and load it in the car and everything. But it was definitely a very interesting experience. If I had a bigger home, I would definitely do it again in a heartbeat. If you don't have terrariums in your home, you should, because they're a very easy way to take care of plants, very low maintenance way. You just kind of toss the plants in there and let them do their thing. There are a few updates that I would like to add to this terrarium as well. I do want to add in a fan. I don't know if I've shown you how I make my custom terrarium lids either, so I'm going to go over that because I'll definitely put a short out if I haven't talked about it in a larger video. Let me know which plant was your favorite to see today, and if there are any particular plants that you think should be added in that I'm missing out, definitely drop it down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!